And we are live. Hello, hello. Carson Meredith with you from the Wave Now Studios. It is 6:50 p.m. on Saturday, October 5th, 2024. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope you enjoyed the sunshine. Where's my summer fans at? Are you enjoying this heat? I hope you are, because this might be the warmest days that we see around here for quite some time, my friends. Things are going to be cooling down in a big, big way. Starting here in about 24 hours, we'll talk about our Sunday cold front, the tiny shower chance that comes with it. I'm talking teeny tiny, very, very little rain chance tomorrow. We'll look at that. We'll look at a beautiful stretch as we head into next week. But of course, the tropics are getting busy again. And we'll have to spend a little time talking about our friend Milton, who has formed in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have that new information for you later on in this broadcast. Let's go to the comments, shall we? Jump right in. Jocelyn says, good evening. I am so ready for this heat to be gone. Jocelyn, I am with you 100%. But, come January, we'll be like, oh, gosh, can the 80s come back now? Right? We can never be happy, it seems like. Adam says, good evening from Happy Bloomington, 6-0. So they held on. Man, Hoosiers are good this year. The Big Ten is going to be interesting. Tanya says, good evening from Hanover. Angela's watching as always. Jacob says, happy first Saturday of October. College football. That's right. That is right. It's a way of life this time of year, isn't it? Adam also says, looking forward to a long-range look. Yeah, long range is in the next 10 days. I got to be honest with you guys, it's the nicest we've had in a long, long time around here. You know what? After the way September ended, I think we deserve it, right? Let me get you outside, shall we? We'll go to Starlight, Indiana. Who's been to Huber's yet? Who's been to Huber's yet this fall? I have not. Used to go there all the time as a kid during the fall. I loved it. Fall's my favorite season. You guys know that. My favorite month of the year is October. So I'm a pretty happy camper right now. Things are winding down probably at Huber's as the sun goes down. Crowds were pretty big earlier today, as you might expect. Temperature-wise, it is still warm out there this evening. 84 to be exact here in Louisville. We got up to 86 today here in the city. At least that's the climate information we have right now from the Weather Service. When all is said and done tonight, we may have briefly touched 87 here in the city. So it doesn't necessarily feel like October just yet. But you know what? It was still a really nice day, right? We had the sun. Wasn't too terribly humid. So we can't complain too much. For reference, by the way, our average high this time of year is 75. So we're running a solid 10 to 12 degrees above that today. And we'll likely do that again tomorrow as well. Let's go to the other side of the Ohio River. Our friends at the Kentucky Mesonet, as always, have some fantastic camera views of our state. One of the states we cover here in Wave Country, right? We're in the 70s outside of Louisville. 75 in Bullitt and Shelby County tonight, 79 in Taylor County, and 77 in Adair County. It is going to be a golden sunset, ladies and gentlemen. Once I'm done yapping here on Wave Weather Now, check out that sunset. Get a few photos. It's going to be really, really nice. I'm not going to spend a whole lot talking about our forecast here at home because, quite honestly, there's not a lot of talk to talk about in a good way. 63 tonight, mostly clear, mild, not too bad. A lot of you will be in the upper 50s when you wake up Sunday morning, but just a little bit warmer, of course, here in Louisville. All quiet. Here's the big picture across the U.S. High pressure, by and large, is in control in our backyard. But let's focus on this guy. Yeah, that is a nice cold front. Stretches from the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota, down towards Omaha, Nebraska, towards Colby, Kansas. You ever driven I-70 to Denver? You'll run into a little town called Colby, Kansas. Spent a couple nights there storm chasing when I was in college. Anyway, that cold front is on its way. It'll be moving to the south and east over the next 24 to 36 hours. With it comes that nice fall October feel, that true fall feel. And it also brings with it a very, very, very minor shower chance. This cold front, while strong, and while it's going to cool us down nicely, just doesn't have a ton of moisture with it. In fact, if you look closely, I don't even think there's any rain with it this evening. And that trend, by and large, will continue as that front arrives here tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Look at the top of your screen here on our banner where it says, right below where it says rain chance. I've kind of narrowed down in particular when this cold front is moving through, and therefore when that tiny rain chance would be. 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. That's really the general timing that this cold front's going to scoot through here. And during that time, I'll have to watch for maybe a random little blip that pops up on radar. If you live in this light green zone that is circled here. And I'm being generous here. I'm kind of giving myself a little margin of error. But in general, from Bardstown, E-Town, Litchfield, point south. So that would include Hodgenville, Mumfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Springfield, Columbia. If you live near any of those burgs, there is a very, very tiny shower chance this front moves through between 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. If you do not live near any of those towns I just said, you are good to go. 0 rain chance. Louisville, no issue. Southern Indiana, staying totally dry tomorrow. And really for a lot of us, the only things we're going to notice with this front are 2 things. 1, more clouds, and 2, a stronger breeze. We might have some gusts tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, around 20, 25 miles per hour. That's it. There's just not a lot of moisture with this cold front. Here's Futurecast, 9 o'clock in the morning, fine, good to go, heading to church, brunch, no issues at all. A lot of sunshine all day. And as that front moves through, excuse me, this is 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Still not seeing a drop of rain. Nothing. Not even really seeing clouds at this point. But then you see those clouds start to bubble up as the front crosses the Ohio River. And during that early evening time frame, a couple showers try to develop, especially in our southern counties. So that's why we have that 10% shower chance, mainly south of Louisville. The better moisture is going to be up in Ohio and Pennsylvania. So that's where most of the rain is going to be. But couple little blips may try to make it this far south. Hope that makes sense. Very, very quiet, straightforward cold front scooting through. Comments we go. Let's see. Judith says, good evening. Keeping an eye on Tampa Bay. Yes, unfortunately. Kind of teasing what we'll talk about with Milton here in a few minutes. You're right, Judith. Michelle says, happy Saturday from Green River State Park. Hope you're having a good weekend out there. I'm going to be camping myself next weekend down in Tennessee. I'm looking forward to it. Adam says, nice at Huber's. Yeah, it's that perfect time of year. That is for sure. Tanya says, I wish it would stay summer. I can't take the cold weather. Everybody's got their own preference, Tanya, so no shame in that. No shame in that. Hey, Weather Geek's on. Hey, how you doing, friend? Good to see you. So let's get back to it. Again, this cold front moves through. A lot of you, the only way you'll know this front's moving through is because you see a few more clouds in the sky and the wind picks up. That's it. But we'll watch for that tiny shower chance tomorrow afternoon south of the city, across central Kentucky. Just as quick as that front moves in, it moves out, and that fall feel settles in. Look at this. Oh, don't you love it? Don't you love it? 70. That is our forecast high on Monday here in the city, which means a lot of you guys are going to stay in the upper 60s. So we're really going to see that temperature roller coaster go way down really quickly, really starting tomorrow night. We'll likely have 40s and 50s on the board by then. And, of course, we'll keep that below average trend around heading into Monday. Okay, I'll show you the 10-day in a minute, but you get the picture. Once that front moves through tomorrow night, it's quiet for a while here at home. Let's go to Milton. If you were watching this past weekend, so 7 days ago, we started to talk about something brewing in the Gulf. And it took a while for it to brew, to really get going. We were, if I'm being honest with you, I was hopeful that nothing would get organized. But that is certainly not the case. So we now have Tropical Storm Milton. It is just kind of parked just off the Mexican coastline in eastern Mexico or off of eastern Mexico. It's not really moving a whole lot, but when you see those reds and purples blow up, you see that right there? Watch the loop again. Watch this little zone. Look at all that red and purple. That means this storm is intensifying, okay? And eventually, this storm is going to go due east, maybe a little northeast, across those warm bath waters of the Gulf of Mexico, with no interruptions, just a straight path into the Gulf. And this thing is going to intensify quick, guys. I'm not ready to say rapid intensification yet, but I'm getting close, unfortunately. 40-mile-per-hour winds right now, gusting to 50. That's right on the edge of being a tropical storm. So again, Milton is still getting its act together, but it's getting its act together really quick. Here's the updated forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. I'll zoom in on it here a little bit so you guys can see it better. Notice still just kind of meandering where it's at overnight tonight. And then eventually off it goes. Category 1 hurricane Sunday night, early Monday. Category 2 hurricane Monday night, early Tuesday morning. And as we keep pushing east, oh boy, the latest projection from the National Hurricane Center has a possible landfall as a major hurricane, Category 3, right into Tampa, Wednesday afternoon. If that were to happen, that would not be good at all. Because, partially, obviously, Tampa's a huge metro area. I got several friends who are from Tampa, friends of mine in the TV business. But another thing that a lot of us haven't really thought about in the aftermath of Helene is parts of the Tampa Bay area near Tampa saw horrible storm surge, just awful storm surge, and they're still recovering from that. And here we go again, not even 2 weeks later, and we got Milton potentially landing as a Category 3 major hurricane. It's just unbelievable how the Gulf of Mexico in particular this season has just been nonstop. But also notice, and this is very, very important to keep in mind, this forecast cone is very, very wide. Remember, the wider that forecast cone is, the more uncertainty there is as to where the center of this storm is going to go. Remember, when we're looking at a forecast cone, this is a forecast cone, okay? When you're looking at this, this is not talking about the whole storm. This is talking about just the center part of the storm and where that center is going to go. So the National Hurricane Center says, hey, the center of Milton could go back into the Big Bend of Florida, or it could go down into the Keys and Miami and cause problems down there. But right now, the most likely scenario is the center of Milton has a straight path to Tampa. And that would, again, not be good at all. For us in particular, Milton will not be an issue for us. Thank goodness. Obviously, you don't wish this on anybody, but we here at home have no concerns with Milton. The mountains of North Carolina have no concerns with this. Thank the Lord. Georgia will likely be okay with this, but it's going to be our friends in Florida that we have to watch. So if you have any interest, I'll just say anywhere in Florida at this point, but especially near Tampa Bay. Tampa, Sarasota, any of those beaches along the Gulf Coast of Florida, the western side of the Florida Panhandle, or the peninsula, rather. Pay attention to this over the next couple of days, okay? Because this could be a big, big problem by Wednesday in particular. Comments. We go. DJ King, without doubt. DJ, I can always count on you to talk about snow, man. Love it. Brian's still working on his winter forecast, okay? Halloween night, you all know the drill. Halloween night, you get a notification on the Wave Weather app if you're getting all your candy. That's our winter forecast, okay? 26 days away. Tanya says her aunt lives in Jacksonville. Yeah, Tanya, just make sure your aunt knows what's going on here. Because Jacksonville could certainly have a little trouble with this as well. Judah's got an interesting point in Tampa. The port of Tampa has a lot of gas, oil, and other chemicals. And then you got the Air Force Base in Tampa as well. That's a very, very good point. I guarantee you they're watching this like a hawk. Of course, it's the federal government, so they got the National Hurricane Center, the National Weather Service watching us very, very closely. Christy's asking about Panama City. Here's some good news, Christy. Yes, the edge of that cone, that forecast cone, gets close to Panama City, but I'm optimistic that most, if not all, of Milton is going to stay south of Panama City, okay? So take comfort in that. And the reason why the cone is so wide at this point is because we're trying to figure out where this cold front's going to go. The cold front that we're dealing with tomorrow, it's going to keep moving south and east. The problem is we're trying to figure out how far south and east it goes. So think of it this way. I'm a sports guy, so I got to think of a sports analogy. All right, basketball. You're defending somebody, goes up for a shot, you block it, right? That's what the cold front's doing. It's basically a defender. So let's say the cold front, if I can get my drawing tools to work again. Hang on a minute. Sometimes when I adjust the map on my own, it kind of acts up on me. Okay. Let's say the cold front is right here. Okay. It's basically going to block Milton from getting into the southeastern U.S. and keep it down in Florida. But let's say that front gets stalled out here in the Carolinas and near Atlanta. That would allow Milton to move a little further inland, right? Because it's not blocking as much this way. So that would kind of allow Milton to go a little further north than what's currently forecast. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. So we'll watch it. We have no issues here locally in wave country with this, but we'll keep an eye on that cone and see if the National Hurricane Center becomes more confident in Tampa being the main issue with landfall, or if it goes a little further north or a little bit south. It really just depends on how far south that cold front goes. So the cold front moves through here tomorrow. Beyond that, how far south does it go? And that's the $1 million question at this stage of the ball game. Okay, here comes the 10-day back here in wave country. And like I said, it's one of the nicest 10 days we've had in a while. I mean, you can't ask for much better around here, right? One more warm day on Sunday, 87. If you're going to the last day of St. James, the St. James Court Art Show, looks great. Have some water with you and sunscreen too. But it looks good. Tiny shower chance tomorrow well south of Louisville, central Kentucky. You live south of the parkways in Kentucky, maybe a random shower between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Sunday. Front moves out, and there's fall. Like truly fall, right? 70 Monday, 71 Tuesday, and we're just kind of going steadily up the stairs through the rest of the work week. We'll gradually be back into the mid-70s, I think, by Thursday. And stay in that mid-70s range throughout or into next weekend. And the sunshine's ours to keep. I mean, it is as good as it gets around here. Not bad at all. So any last-minute comments, questions, thoughts, concerns before we wrap things up? Again, it's really quiet here at home, so I wasn't going to plan on being on here too long tonight, but with all the tropical interest from what just happened with Helene and now Milton coming in, wanted to spend a little time talking about that. Weather Geek's got a good question. We're not looking at another Fujiwara effect, are we? It doesn't look like it at this point. If you remember with Helene, guys, remember we had a low pressure kind of nearby, and then Helene came in, and those two lows kind of became one big low. That's the Fujiwara effect. When two low pressures become one big low pressure. Doesn't look like to be the case here. But that's a very good question. Very good question. Austin's watching. He says, hopefully the Big Bend doesn't get hit hard again after Helene. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about personally. But like I said, I mean, areas around Tampa and St. Petersburg got hit hard with storm surge. I mean, it's awful. Helene was such a huge hurricane, not just with the wind, but just like its size was just a monster. And even though landfall was 100, 150 miles away from Tampa, they had all that storm surge because they were on the bad side of that system. So we just don't want to see this again. You know, it's terrible. Jude says, thanks for keeping an eye on Milton, even though it won't get to us. She's got family in Tampa. Well, make sure they're aware. I'm sure they are. But we'll send good thoughts and prayers to everybody down there as they might have to deal with this again. Austin also says, grateful this 10-day for this 10-day compared to other places. No kidding. I think this is the quietest 10-day I've had since I've started working at Wave 8 months ago. So no complaints. Don't get me wrong. No complaints at all. We love it. All right. That's going to do it for tonight, guys. We got college football on Wave. Michigan and Washington tonight. Rematch of the national championship last year. Should be a good game. Once that game is done, you will see us on Wave News at 11 on the television side of things. We will have new information on Milton coming up tonight after college football at 11. And, of course, we'll talk about our nice, calm fall forecast here at home later on tonight. And I will be on the TV side of things bright and early for sunrise Sunday morning, and then back here tomorrow night as well. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, as I always like to say. Enjoy the sunshine. If you like heat, get outside tomorrow. If you don't like heat and you're ready for fall, like fall cool down, hang in there one more day. That chill arrives on Monday. All right, guys, that's going to do it for now. I'll see you tonight on the TV after college football at 11. Take care.